He was one of the great anti-colonial fighters of the 20th century. الكريم الخطابي, the Lion of the Reef, who inspired revolutionary figures in North African countries and elsewhere in the world. They regarded him as a pioneer of modern guerrilla tactics. محمد bin الكريم الخطابي was born in 1882 in Ashdir to a traditional family. He received a traditional education and training and studied Islamic law at Al-Qarawiyyin University. After his graduation and settlement in Melilla in northern Morocco, he held several occupations and worked as a teacher, then as a judge, and finally as a journalist at a time when the world was witnessing major developments from the First World War to the emergence of political elites, which repercussions reached the North African region, including Morocco, which was under the Spanish occupation before the French. At a time when the royal family colluded with the colonizer who seized the wealth and freedom of Moroccans to protect the throne, Al-Khatabi established the Republic of the Reif on September 18, 1921, with Ashdir as a capital, with its own flag and national anthem. A republic that lasted for 5 years, with a system built on democratic foundations and both legislative and executive powers, a fact that compelled the Makhzen to resort to an alliance with the Spaniards and the French, an alliance in exchange for concessions on Moroccan lands, namely Ceuta and Melilla. Reifian resistance was determined and fierce, but ultimately unsuccessful in the face of overwhelming manpower and the most horrific methods and internationally prohibited weapons used by the coalition forces. Al-Khatabi was forced to surrender on May 27, 1926, to preserve the safety of the people from the oppression of the enemy and its allies. Following his surrender, الكريم was exiled to a French territory in the Indian Ocean, but he succeeded in gaining asylum in Egypt. There, he founded the Committee for the Liberation of the Maghreb in 1947. The main purpose of this committee was to reunite all the forces and the national parties struggling for the independence of Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia, and to lay the foundations of the Maghrebian unity. On the 6th of February 1963, Al-Khatabi died in exile after years of struggle for the liberation of Morocco from the brutal colonial authority. 6 decades after his death, his mortal remains are still buried in Cairo and not in the land in which he resisted and was exiled for 20 years to establish a republic based on justice and freedom.